Hello, welcome back, lovely listeners. We are talking today about wedding trends for 2021 and 2022. Obviously, we're still waiting for weddings to get back on track. And we know it's an anxious time for all of you. But I thought a really good way of getting you excited again for your wedding is to look at some of the trends, some of the things that are going to be popular when we get back into the swing of things. So Heidi and myself have picked out 2 or 3 trends that we've heard of, that we like the sound of, that we're going to share with you on the show. And we're going to be sharing, of course, another big day balls up, which features a menopausal vicar. So that will be really interesting to see how that ties into a wedding day and how that's impacted somebody's memory of their special day. We're still waiting for Heidi to pop up on my Zoom chat. So whilst we do, just want to remind you that you can subscribe to the podcast on any app that you choose to listen to your podcast on. Most of you listen on iTunes, so just subscribe via your Apple Podcast app. And please, if you are a regular listener and you love what you hear, do leave a rating and a review, because more people find us that way. And we also love your stories. So don't forget, we love your big day balls up. It doesn't have to be one from your wedding. You could have been a guest, could be your mum and dad's wedding, just something where something went wrong and created a real memorable moment. And also, we still love your proposal stories. So if there's something really romantic, funny, outrageous, or you just want to tell the world what happened when you got engaged, then get in touch. We love sharing those as well. So lots of ways to interact. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at your_individual wedding. And yeah, you can get in touch with us there. Tell us what you like about the show, what you'd like us to feature. But hopefully today we'll get you excited again and inspired for your upcoming wedding by sharing some of the trends of the season. Right, here comes Heidi.
Hello, Ross. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing, Heidi?
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too bad. Looking forward to lighter evenings.
Yeah, not a lot's changed since we last spoke, really, in the grand scheme of things. We're still in full lockdown. We're still waiting for some guidance from the government on what's happening with weddings, hoping to hear something soon. Yeah, still pretty grey and dark and grim out there. But on my morning Instagram scroll, I saw something that really lifted my spirits that I just wanted to share with you. And that is the news that by the end of this month, by the end of February, apparently the sun will be rising before 7 a.m. and it will be setting after 6 p.m. So I started the day feeling a bit there, but that's good, isn't it?
That's really good. And February is a really short month, actually. January seems to slog, and then February seems to whiz by. So in no time at all, we'll have those lighter evenings. That's really exciting. I love the way we call it news. It happens every year, but we're like, just heard some news. The days are going to get longer, guys, as the year progresses.
And the weather's going to get better.
Yeah. And what's more, you can't see, we've coordinated today. We were in the same colour outfit. So it's taken us 6 episodes, but we're now in tune with each other. So it's going in the right direction.
We're both wearing blush. We've both got nice black long sleeves t-shirts on underneath. So maybe this is your individual wedding outfit.
Yeah. I've not got the hoop earrings. Next time I will grab some hoop. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we're talking about trends today, aren't we? And we've said a lot about you don't have to stick to trends. You don't have to follow trends. So that's our big caveat before we get going, is that these are just ideas, really, and probably just a heads up as to when you're doing your Pinterest research or talking to suppliers, this is probably what you're going to see a lot of, or see sort of a lot of imagery representing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think as well, although you and I are going to be discussing these trends, and these are trend reports, and every year we see wedding trend reports released about sort of Jan Feb time, I don't necessarily always agree with the trend reports. You read, you know, what's going to be trending this year, and very often I'd say I agree with 50% of them. I think, yeah, I'm already seeing that. I'm already
Yeah.
seeing that sort of styling. I'm already seeing that sort of ethos. And then sometimes you see things and think, I think somebody's just trying to push a product or just trying to promote an
Yeah.
angle.
Yeah.
So I don't always agree with the trend reports, I have to say. And you do have to sort of think who's behind these trend reports, who's publishing
Yeah,
these.
look at the source as well, definitely. I mean, I was doing a bit of research for the podcast, first time for everything. And well, there were conflicting trends because I saw one that was all about, I don't think we're going to mention it, so I'll just mention it quickly. One was about big, massive bouquets, and one was about having really small ones. So I was like, well, what is the trend then? It's
What are we
just,
doing here? Yeah, so I'm going to guess. I'm going to say that the big, massive bouquets had a florist in the mix somewhere.
yeah, exactly.
And the
So
smaller bouquets, maybe the emphasis was more on other
other
accessories.
accessories, yeah, it's interesting. So obviously, I was going to call you Bridie. Heidi does bridal accessories, and I do a photographer. So a heads up, we're being very open and objective here. So we're not trying to flog you
Not,
something you don't
yeah,
need. But obviously, there's things that appeal to us because of what we focus on as well. So we've selected 3 trends each that we think are worth noting and looking ahead towards. So yeah, and obviously, funny old time, like we said, still waiting to get back into the swing of things. So we're hoping, as I said in the intro, this will get you excited and get you sort of researching and looking up again and looking at what's possible. And because that is a big part of wedding planning, isn't it? It's looking what you could have and all the ideas. So yeah,
yeah, getting excited and looking through Instagram and looking through Pinterest and increasingly looking through TikTok. I've got a bit obsessed with TikTok recently. When it first started, I thought it was a bit of a young thing and it was just people dancing around and lip syncing to songs, and I couldn't really see the worth. But actually, it seems to have developed very quickly into quite a good resource for looking at style trends in all different areas, but particularly in the world of weddings. So yeah, it's good to yeah, feed your imagination a little bit by looking at these platforms.
yeah. And these aren't these sort of must-have lists that I always hate with a passion. None of it's a must. It's just a maybe. Maybe you'd like it. So
Yeah,
Heidi,
definitely.
what is the first trend that you think you're going to see a lot of?
So I think this is pretty much a given, considering our current circumstances and the circumstances we'll be entering into when weddings are allowed again. And that's been coined the pintimate wedding.
Intimate,
So
okay.
it's the intimate wedding that is going to be social media worthy.
Mm.
Um, and you're already seeing those few little weddings that did manage to go ahead in that smallest of windows that we had in the summer. There was a real emphasis on those couples making the most of the fact that, yes, there were very small numbers or no numbers at all at their weddings, but they were getting themselves photographed beautifully,
Yeah,
beautiful settings. You and I have talked about this before, being a little bit more adventurous about your wedding photography, because you haven't got a bridal party that you need to get back to in a hurry because there's only 10 guests or 2
yeah.
guests or no guests.
You've got the
And
gift of time, haven't you?
you have. And so I think you're going to see hashtag Pintimate Wedding trending.
Yeah,
And I do think there will be going forward a real focus on images that reflect the time, reflect those intimate weddings, smaller weddings, weddings where you've got more time for one another. And so when I first saw it, I thought it was a little bit gimmicky, pintimate. It sounds a bit gimmicky, but actually, when you start sort of reading the ethos behind it, you think, well, yeah, it's fairly obvious that that is going to be the way that weddings go for certainly
yeah,
2021, possibly into 2022.
definitely. And I think those sort of weddings are different to sort of faddy weddings because I think it's a big part of the time we're living in. So you're always going to look back if you're getting married at this time. you know, with the whole situation as part of it. You're not going to be able to separate your day from, you know, the global situation that we're in. So it's a little bit different from something faddy that you might look back and think, oh, I remember when that was all the go. I wish we hadn't done it. There's a bit more depth to it, I think, as well. It's capturing a moment in history, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. It's about smaller weddings. It's about more time to celebrate you and your partner. And some of the other trends that I've picked out actually sort of feed into this, that you're looking to create images and taking the time to create images that really document where you were, because this has been challenging. There's no two ways about it for couples trying to plan weddings in 2020, 2021 and going forward to 2022. This has been a serious challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think people, you know, photos are a way of going back and looking and celebrating what you achieved. I mean, if you
I was
got
going to
married,
say it's an achievement in these, getting married in these times is an achievement. So you, again, the whole idea of a intimate wedding is not hiding the fact of the period it was taken in. So instead of sort of going out your way to get masks, you know, out of every photo and sort of make out that it was, you know, for want of a better phrase, a normal wedding, it's celebrating getting married in these times, isn't it?
Yeah, and getting there. You know, if you got married in 2020, 2021, then I do take my hat off to you, because it's a serious challenge. So yeah, intimate weddings is the first trend that I picked out. What have you got?
Excellent. So sort of related to that was the idea of seated entertainment. So obviously when weddings do come back, you know, it might be a while before you're all sort of sweating together on a dance floor, you know, crowding around, hugging. You know, when they come back, your guests might still have to stay at the table. So I think there will be a trend for, you know, stand-up comedy, or, you know, even circus acts, or singers and bands and things that you can enjoy while still seated. So you can still have an evening of entertainment, you know, and if you need to be in bubbles or stick with family groups or whatever it is, but you can have a great time and have fun and enjoy something collectively without all sort of being sort of smushed together. So I think that is going to be something that people are going to look for, those sort of options, which is great for you know, the live events industry that has been really, you know, hit hard as much as what the wedding industry have. So, you know, performers of all sorts, I think, you know, you can think outside the box a bit and think, how would you, you know, entertain your guests?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, although we're all hoping and anticipating that weddings will return later this year, I think we're all in agreement that they will be, for the time being, quite different from weddings that went before. And one of the things that I can't even begin to imagine at the moment is a packed dance floor. You know, the idea of us all sort of breathing on each other. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Seated entertainment, I think, is going to be the way to go. And things like, you know, magicians have always been popular at weddings, but I think, you know, magicians that can go from table to table and entertain in, again, quite an intimate way. I think things like that are definitely going to be.
And I've done quite a few weddings where they've had sort of drag acts and stuff, and they've gone down the storm. And whenever I've done sort of LGBTQ weddings and they've got a drag act, there's always guests that they're not sure how they're going to sort of take it. You know, they're like, we've got a drag act, we're not sure if Granny's going to like it, or Auntie, so I don't know how to, but we've decided to go for it anyway. It's a hard day, and they've always loved it. You know, there's been a couple of jokes where I think, oh dear, this is and some stuff luckily went over their heads. They came up to me because I don't think my mum knows what that is. I was like, well, I'm not going to tell her if you're not going to tell her. So, but yeah, they go down really well, and it's a different level of entertainment because you're really going to be paying attention to them. Whereas with a band, you know, they're great and they get you up dancing, and you're interacting amongst yourselves. You've got everyone sort of paying attention, so it's sort of another thing you can look back on and show, do you remember when, you know, we went to that wedding and they were telling that joke, or they told this story. So yeah, it's another dimension to your evening entertainment, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that, you mentioned comedians. It's not something that you would generally associate
No.
with a reception, a wedding reception. You wouldn't think of having a stand-up comedian, but like you say, it supports an industry that really needs supporting right now. And a comedy night, who doesn't love a comedy
Well,
night?
yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, yeah, what a great idea. Right, I'm going to renew my vows to comedian. Like
Did
it.
you have any links to the comedy industry, Heidi, at all that you could
Might
pull up
have a
on?
few. I might have a few. Yes, my husband works with a lot of big name comedians. It is a bit weird at the moment actually because my husband has worked with quite a few big name comedians, and my daughter has actually had the opportunity of joining in some of his conversations with these comedians while he's been trying to work from home. He now thinks that anybody famous he has links to. So she's been asking if he can sort out Ollie Murs coming round for.
He's my age. He's down the road from me, I think, Ollie. I'm more
If you
likely
could
to have
have a
that with him.
word,
Yeah, I'll
if
have
you
a
could
word.
have
I'll have a word with Ollie.
yeah, my daughter wants him to come round for tea and a play date, if that's all right.
I know the cafe she needs to go to that he pops into in our local town. So I'll let her know when she's in the area. So yeah.
Sort
So
it out.
what's your next trend, Heidi?
Colour, Ross. It's
Ah,
I mean, obviously color has never gone away. You've got color in your bouquets, but palettes can sometimes be quite muted, quite classic, quite traditional, but as a celebration of coming out of lockdown, I think a lot of people are going to be turning to color.
yeah.
You're already seeing it. You're seeing very colorful backdrops, you're seeing colorful banners, you're seeing real pops of color in people's accessories, shoes, bouquets, hot pinks, corals, real sort of punchy colors.
Mm.
And it is that we do turn to color when we're in a celebratory mood. It's all of that sort of like fiesta feeling, and it's a trend that, as I say, can you call it a trend? Is it a trend? Has color ever gone away? I don't think it has, but yeah, I'm going to be very much enjoying seeing strong color accents.
Yeah, strong colour and deliberate use of colour, I suppose. Because obviously everything's got a colour. So if you're talking flowers, they're going to have to be one colour or another. But it's that deliberately wanting strong, bold colours that are sort of really stand out, like you say, and as a celebration.
Yeah, and you're seeing colour introduced into areas that you wouldn't have historically seen colour introduced. I'm noticing, because obviously my world is the wedding accessory, I'm noticing veils in colour, which traditionally veils were always white or ivory.
Mm.
You're seeing far more dip dyed veils, you're seeing blush veils, you're seeing veils with coloured embroidery. I saw a veil designer who had included coloured petals on her veils. That's actually Heather of Sash and Bale. I noticed that she'd been using coloured petals.
We love Heather.
Another,
Heather introduced me.
well, sorry, I lost your sound then, Ross.
Oh, I said Heather introduced me and you, didn't she?
She did,
Yeah.
yes, I've forgotten that. Yes, she did. I love her work, and
It's stunning. Her work is stunning.
it is beautiful. And she, I mean, she's been using colour for a while, but you're really seeing it sort of coming through now. And yeah, I saw a veil designer only this morning, who had embroidered pink unicorns onto one of her
As you
veils.
do.
You're seeing more confidence, I think, around the use of colour.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I understand that.
And it's good to see, and not necessarily sort of it's all got to be sort of matchy colours. You're seeing clashing colours and really colourful backdrops. Again, it kind of feeds back, as I was saying before, the Pintimate wedding, this idea that your wedding day photos are going to be really worth looking back on, because they're bold, they're bright, they're heartfelt, they're exciting, they're joyous. All of these things, I think, that sort of sense of joy, again, is a real marker of the weddings that we're about to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, full of colour. Yeah, I like that. And I love colour in photos. So I love a classic black and white, but there's so many things that lend themselves to the color photography, and so yeah, it is exciting when you see different colors, or like you say, really bold colors that just pop and just immediately give a, yeah, it gives a totally different vibe. It can completely change the look and feel of the day, actually. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think
really.
that's a really good one.
It's I saw some dried flowers again on my favorite platform, Instagram, this morning. There's a florist called Myrtle Fox and Maud, and she's been using those lovely little fluffy bunny ears in her bouquets, and they can be dyed because they're a grass, they're dry, they can be dyed really vibrant colors. And she put a picture up, and I think they've got like lovely little subtle blush pinks, but then real punchy cerise
Wow.
pinks. And you imagine those in a full bouquet,
Yeah,
the color
definitely.
impact in those. So
I saw related to flowers, there's going to be a lot more men with flowers as well, both in sort of same-sex weddings and in general. I've seen quite a few styled shoots with men carrying flowers or having flower crowns, so that's obviously a big
yeah,
trend as well. I think it's the whole thing of gender, and why should it just be the bride that has them? I think those sort of traditions and stereotypes that are changing, and I think that's really exciting, actually.
absolutely. And I'm really here for it. Like you say, the flower crowns for men, I've seen a few of those, and it just looks amazing. It just looks absolutely fantastic. And yeah, flowers are genderless.
Yeah.
Anybody, we all love flowers. Just go and have a chat to Elton John about his flower bill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you think your wedding's expensive, just Google Elton John's flower bill and you'll be all right. You'll put it into perspective, definitely. Yeah, so moving on, I was going to talk about outfits and um, possibly, planning for two outfits, because a lot of people are going to have this smaller wedding now and then a bigger party in a year's time.
Yeah,
And I think one, they're looking forward to sort of being able eventually to have all the guests that they want, but also it's an excuse to shop for your wedding outfit twice, isn't it, really?
yeah,
um
absolutely.
you could rewear your outfit if you wanted to, but I think there is going to be a trend for sort of a wedding day outfit and then a party outfit. So if you are sort of struggling with, there's lots of different styles that you like, it helps a little bit, because you can sort of say, well, the wedding's like that, whether it's a bit more classic or a bit more color, and then for the party, obviously, maybe you're going to have like something a bit more practical that you can move around in and dance around in, and not so big and bulky. So I think there is going to be sort of a trend towards having more than one outfit planned,
Yeah,
and maybe looking around more, and like I said, going to different designers, and there is so much choice, and I think couples do struggle sometimes with the amount of choice. So it will open up a little bit more possibility of that. And again, along with outfits, anything really, you might want a different venue stylist, or you might have a totally different type of venue for your next one. You might have an intimate, wedding one, and then a big outdoor festival thing the next year, or it's endless. But it means you can almost have two weddings,
yeah,
really.
absolutely. And again, it kind of feeds into another of the trends that I've seen predicted, which is marry now, party later.
Yeah, yeah,
So a lot of people are thinking, do you know what? We don't know what's on the horizon. None of us saw the pandemic coming, so we don't know what's on the horizon. So a lot of people are thinking, as soon as we get the go ahead,
yeah,
we're just going to go ahead and get married.
yeah,
Whether it's just us or two guests or 10 guests or 30 guests or whatever we're allowed, we're going to go ahead, we're going to get married, we're going to have those lovely photos, we're going to have that, woohoo, we've done it,
yeah,
celebrate.
yeah,
But then the big party with all of those friends and family that couldn't make it because you were restricted to 30 guests, they're going to come to the big bash next year when the gloves are off. And people are going to be tearing up the dance floor. And as you say, that's a completely different outfit. You're not necessarily going to wear your wedding day outfit for a nightclub or
exactly.
cocktail bar, or wherever you
Or
end
if
up.
it's something more informal, if you want to be in a muddy field or you want to be in a big outdoor marquee or something, it's you might want something totally different. So
Yeah. And again, when we're talking about sort of bringing the fun back to planning, you've probably had a bit more time than you anticipated when you initially announced that you get married. So you've got a bit more time, and you can bring the fun back here. You can sort of think, well, perhaps we'll have it themed, or perhaps we'll be a bit more.
And there's probably less pressure because you've done the sort of actual ceremony bit. You've probably done a speech or so. So it is a party with. You might want to be centre of attention, but if you don't, it's almost like you're just arranging a party and everyone had a good time, and there's no sort of everyone's looking at you and waiting for you to say things or do things. You can just all get on with having fun, really. So definitely.
Absolutely. And there's so many things you can do with this sort of like 2 outfit thing. I've seen different variants where couples have worn an outfit and then had it altered for you can have it dyed. You can have you can wear a different waistcoat underneath your jacket. You can wear no jacket. You can wear the same dress, but you can have the length cut off it. You can have it ombre dyed. You can have extra skirts put underneath it. There's so much you can do.
There are so many options. I mean, I did a wedding where they had a small registry wedding, only literally the 2 best friends as the witnesses. And then a month later, they had a blessing and a party in sort of a marquee at their friend's house. And then they wore one outfit for the registry, which were colours, again, going into colours. Then they had white for the blessing. But then for the party, they went back to their first outfit from the first day. So it was so much variation. It was. And, it took that decision as to, do we have to go a traditional white? Can we do a bit of colour? You can do both. So,
I love it.
Really.
I love it. It's a great way forward, I think. And it's a really, really good way of sort of grabbing the opportunities when you can. And
prolonging the fun and the excitement and the build-up, isn't it?
Totally. So my next trend is impact points. And
so that's again, you get at Sainsbury's. Oh, did you collect your impact points?
I've got 20 impact points. That's taking the shine off it for me.
No, I was going to say explain. Sell it to us. Sell it to me.
So again, it kind of ties into the other trends that I was talking about, the pintimate wedding and the colour. So it's thinking of ways of, so if you're having a small wedding, if you're only having a handful of guests, but you still want it to look like a big, exciting, flamboyant, glitzy affair, you're seeing a lot of couples opting for big glittery backdrops that perhaps just 2 people can pose in front of. So your guests get some amazing pictures, you get some amazing pictures, but you don't necessarily have to have big groups of people to create the impact. The impact is the backdrop. It's the floral installation. It's the banner. I've seen some gorgeous banners recently, really, really big pieces of textile artwork that will have something like, I made a note, I saw one earlier that said, shut up and kiss me. And they were sort of quite 70s vibe. Just things that really draw the eye, that give people the opportunity to sort of pose in front of, look good in front of. These are going to create photos that people refer back to and go, oh wow, do you remember that amazing floral balloon?
Like statement pieces, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you and I have discussed this in the past, budgets are stretching further because you've got fewer guests. So you're not paying out for sit down 3-course meals. You're not necessarily paying for so much alcohol. And And certainly the few weddings that went ahead in 2020, people were saying to me, we've got a bit more money to spend on the fun stuff.
Yeah.
And that money may very well end up going on those I can't say impact points.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Check out. You got your, I see you've got your glittery impact point there.
It's worth double on a Friday.
They're on 2 for 1. Did you know you could get your second glittery backdrop? But yeah, impact points. I think that really ties in with the colour. It ties in with wanting those pintimate photos, and so I think, because you're seeing, again, on my favourite platform, you're seeing these things on Instagram coming through, and you're seeing people's responses to them as well. You can see people, oh my God, I just love that. And I think, a small wedding doesn't mean a less impactful wedding. And I think a lot of the trends that you and I have discussed today support that although these weddings for the foreseeable future are probably going to be smaller, they are probably going to be more colourful, more flamboyant, more about creating that intimacy between the two of you, having that bit more time.
Because people are forced to think outside the box, because they can't do the normal, the traditional, because that's not happening. So then you do have to think alternatively, and then you come up with these ideas and these trends that do make it different and special and unique.
Definitely. And if you do, if people want to check out some of these trends, then definitely head to Instagram and have a look.
Sorry,
I should have laughed. That's really cruel. Ross was coughing.
I tried to do really subtle. I tried to cover my microphone, but I'm not even going to edit that out now. That can stay in. We all cough. It's not the cough. So you're right. It's a tiny little cough.
This is the real world. But yeah, so if you are heading to Instagram and you are looking for these trends, definitely check out Love Lights the Way for those big installations, neon lights and balloons and florals, and they've been working with quite a few other wedding installation providers to create these gorgeous installations. The banners I was talking about, Daydreamer Creative, have been creating these wonderful sort of 1970s-esque banners with
70s. I did read 70s was actually a
oh my goodness, yeah 70s, 80s. You're seeing that definitely in outfits. You're seeing those trends coming through. We're being very careful to say outfits. You actually picked me up on something I said when we were talking to Rami of Coco Bridal Boutique in our last podcast, where I spoke about bridal wear and women wearing a certain outfit and men wearing another outfit, and you picked me up on it and said, that's not representative of diversity. You're absolutely right, it's not. So I apologise. I know you edited it out for me. Thank you very much.
I just cut her out. She's she's not up to snuff.
She's on about
Power doing the editing. It's a pain doing the editing, but sometimes it's a nice bit of power to have. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm all for. I'm absolutely here for people that want to point out. If any point Ross, probably Ross, not me, but at any point Ross or I say something that has you sort of scratching your chin a bit and thinking, not quite.
A bit of an assumption or something. Yeah. Let us know. We're here to learn. We really value equality and diversity, and that's what we're about, and that's what the podcast is about. But we get it wrong. We're human. We're learning, and things change. And so, we promise to try our best. But if there's a mistake, we'll hold our hands up and do feel free to bring us up on it. We're absolutely fine with that.
Absolutely. And we will always credit you if you get in contact and say, that particular bit of language or that assumption isn't quite right. Then we will always respond and credit you for getting in contact with us, because it helps towards learning, it helps towards understanding, it helps towards inclusivity. And as you say, Ross, that's what we're here for.
Totally. And like everything we said, we're not assuming anything about your wedding or who you're marrying or how you identify. It's just these are trends going forward that you will see, whatever type of wedding you're planning, and you don't have to stick to any of them or anything like that. But we like them, so we're sharing them at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So,
And if you guys have got any trends, I said guys, I'm not supposed to say that either.
folks, if you lovely people, lovely listeners,
I'll get there, Ross. You need to hold my hand and guide me along.
no, you're fine.
But yeah, so if there are trends out there that we've missed that you think are important trends for 2021, 2022, we'd love to hear from you. If you think that you might be adopting some of the trends that we've discussed, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to see photographic evidence. If you
we
end
would
up
love to see photographic evidence, that would be really nice.
Be amazing, wouldn't it? I really love it when people get in contact with us and share a picture or share a story, because that's what we're here for. That's what we're all about. We want that interaction.
We do want that interaction. We've got one more trend I was just going to quickly say was about things being locally sourced, which I think is going to be a huge, maybe a trend, maybe it's just going to be something that grows and grows. Actually, I think during the pandemic, people have been trying to support local businesses, obviously, and there's been an increase in sort of shopping local. But I think that extends to weddings. From supporting local business, you've also got the Brexit situation. We don't know where that's going to go, but that will influence it. And the whole environmental thing and sort of the carbon footprint thing. So I think you will see a big push towards looking at local suppliers, or looking at your suppliers, and where does your florist get her flowers from, and things like that. Is it sustainable, and where your outfit comes from? And I think there is a bit more conscientiousness about purchases in general, but with the wedding as well, and making sure you can trace back everything that you're sort of purchasing and buying
very
into.
often makes it easier for you. I mean, you will know as well as I do, Ross, that if you buy something from somebody local, there's a sense of pride in what they're doing, in what they're providing, because this is their doorstep. And as the saying goes, so they want to be able to be proud of the service that they're providing, and it also makes it easier for you if you need to get in contact with them.
Definitely.
If you bought something from somebody in the same country as you, or around the corner from you, or it's just really easy to get in contact with them and say, I forgot to ask you this, could you also do that? A lot of my brides will do that with me. I forgot to say that my bridesmaid would love a hairpin. Could you add that to the order? Could you send? And because I can be so responsive, because most of my brides are in the UK, it just makes it really easy for both of us.
Totally.
So absolutely, locally sourced. You tend to find you get really good quality, just because they've not travel distance, like you say with flowers. If flowers are imported, they've had to travel a certain distance. If they are locally grown, and I'm seeing so many florists now who are starting to grow their own flowers, as you say, partly in response to Brexit, because it's going to be much easier for them to grow and cut their own than to import, but partly because there's a real pride in it, and they can then grow the flowers that they love themselves, that they want to see in bouquets, that they know that their customers want to see in bouquets. So yes to locally sourced, definitely.
Cool. So we've given you sort of 6 or 7 trends there for you to have a think about and go and search for, and it's sometimes it's quite a nice starting point. Like we said, it's not the be all and end all, but if you really, you just got engaged and you don't really know where to start, knowing a few trends, you can start looking and thinking, okay, I heard them talk about that. Go and have a look. Actually, no, I don't like that. Or I love that. And what else is available? And then, you look at the hashtags that are associated, and you start following those. And you can get into a groove of what you like and what's out there. And now is a great time to do that, because, we've all got a little bit more time on our hands, and there's more. If you want to talk to people about the services they offer, you can hop on a Zoom. So again, you're not having to physically meet people, which I miss sort of physical consultations and seeing my couples. but from the couple's point of view, you can talk to lots of suppliers in one day if you wanted to, and just find out a lot more in a lot shorter space of time, and you're saving money and petrol and all sorts of things. So it's a really good starting point, is just to look at some trends that appeal to you, and take it from there, I think.
Definitely. And send us photos when you do it. We want to see photos.
Yeah, and talking of photos, my lovely friend Kerry sent me some photos from her big day balls up, which we are now about to share with you. So hashtag shit jingle, and here's Kerry's balls up.
Heidi and Ross's big day balls ups.
Hello, so this is my story for being late to my own wedding. I bought my wedding dress quite far in advance and decided that I loved me as I am and didn't go on a diet. So by the time it came to getting married, the ribbon for the back of my dress was not long enough to tie up, so my bridesmaids had to shovel me into my dress and try and pull the ribbon as tight as they could. Anyway, eventually they got me in it and it didn't look too shabby, so we got into the wedding cars to go to the wedding, and by this time we were about 10 minutes late. And I was warned by the Reverend the day before at the rehearsal that we were not allowed to be late. She was a very grumpy menopausal woman, and she marched down the aisle to come and meet me, to find that as I'd stepped onto the path on my way up to the church, my heel had got wedged in a grate at the end of the path, and my driver was trying to wriggle my heel free with some long piece of metal that he'd found in the boot. This made her apoplectic with rage, and she stormed back into the church. Eventually my shoe was wriggled free. She told us the night before that I had to follow her serenely down the aisle to meet my future husband. However, once my mother, who was walking me down the aisle, and myself got into the church, she speed walked down to the end of the aisle, expecting me to be right behind her, but my mum had already said, "Take your time, this is your day." So that's what I did, which made her even angrier. And then she proceeded to ruin the ceremony by announcing that because the bride was late, I am not going to be able to give my address. So, yes, it was quite funny, and we do look back on it now and laugh. However, my mother was very upset with Reverend Menopausal and demanded an apology from the church, which I got. But yeah, sometimes you just need to maybe get some Slim Fast shakes, or make sure there is a cover on the grate at the end of the path.
I do, right, first off, from that, I do love that she didn't change herself for her wedding. She didn't drastically diet or anything. So first off, you don't need Slim Fast or anything. You can just be you, but maybe have a final dress fitting closer to the wedding, perhaps, would be wise. Maybe don't have a vicar with the menopause. I know that's...
How would you know? How would you know? I love that she got an apology, though. That's just fantastic. That obviously it wasn't just her thinking that the vicar was in a bit of a
No.
group.
And
Would it
storming
be?
up the aisle. Can you imagine? They're just storming up the aisle ahead of you. Oh dear.
I mean, we all have bad days. We all have bad days. Let's be fair, we do. Menopause or no menopause, hormones or no hormones, we all have bad days. But when that's your job, it's your job.
Yeah.
That's what you do. I can't imagine treating somebody like that, talking, especially on such an important day.
Exactly.
This is all about love and celebration and joy and happiness. Storming up the island and in a strop because you didn't get to say the things you wanted to say.
We will share. We've got the photo of the shoe stuck in the grate as well, so we will share that so you can. It was properly wedged in. It wasn't like, oh, I tripped. It was properly. You can see the big bit of metal that the driver's
out the ground. Yeah, that's what I love, is that they've actually got the whole grate out of the ground, and somebody's struggling to try and release her shoe.
Oh,
it's just fantastic. I loved that photo.
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Kerry, for sharing that with us, and it was a wonderful day, and it was lots of lovely memories. So I'm glad you can look back and laugh at it now. But yeah, maybe I suppose the thing with, I don't want to stereotype again, but with, say, like a vicar who has to do the wedding, it might be aspects of the job they don't love, or maybe, do you know what I mean? They haven't chosen to be part of the wedding industry. If you've got like a registrar or a celebrant doing it, it's their job, it's their passion. Whereas with the vicar, it might not be, actually. It might be one thing they've got to do in their day, So I just choose wisely. And if you are sort of getting married in a church, maybe just see how passionate the vicar there is, and whether you've got any time restrictions, and what happens if I'm late and things like that. So
how cross are you going to be? It's definitely a question to ask. How cross are you going to be with me if I get my heels stuck in the grate? And I can't physically get myself.
Yeah. When are the maintenance team going to tarmac the path up to the church? Can we just have a time frame for it being all smooth and concreted over before I turn up and get my foot stuck in anything? So
I love
it.
Yeah,
we love those.
Much, Kerry. That's it's just such a good balls up. I love it. We've been really lucky. We've had some absolutely fantastic balls up sent in from Jodie and her
I love that.
Her lovely piano piece that was I Do Like to Be Beside the Seaside, to Emma Louise's bridesmaids ending up in a mud fight.
We've had I keep saying your dick pics, but we know what you mean. We've got your
They're not my dick pics.
They're not your no. Your story.
Anybody listening for the first time is going to get.
I'm going to make that into a little question. Thank you, Heidi, for your dick pics. We'll so we've had some good ones. So keep them coming, and they are a highlight. They do cheer us up, like we say, when it's still a bit dark and gloomy. We need all the laughter, and obviously by sharing, you're cheering other people up as well that are listening. So that's
absolutely, and that's the big thing. Is I love that that your misfortune is everybody else laugh. But seriously, we all love to look back and laugh. We can often identify with the balls up and think,
totally,
that happened at a wedding that I went to. So share them. So get on social media. You'll find us on Instagram, Your Individual Wedding, and share your big day balls ups with us and your proposal stories. We've had some lovely proposal stories through as well. So please keep sharing those with us. We love to hear them.
Awesome. So I was going to say what we're talking about next time, but I can't remember. So it'll be a nice surprise. Tune in anyway. It'll be something full of wisdom and weddings and balls ups. So what's not to love? So
I can't remember exactly, but I think we might be speaking to a celebrant.
Yes, we are hoping to speaking to a celebrant. Yes.
There's a possibility that we might see some changes to the laws around where you can get married in England and Wales. So we're going to be looking ahead to that and hopefully speaking to a celebrant. And if not a celebrant, then it will be something equally fantastic. It always is, Ross.
If we do say so ourselves. Lovely. Thanks for chatting, Heidi. Well done for coordinating. You got the memo. We like that.
Yeah. And, okay. So, make sure you pop something through to me next time so I can get ready. Let's go sequins. Should we go sequins?
Sequins. I don't know if I got sequins. No sequins in this house. No.
You need sequins. Everybody needs.
Have you got a mankini?
Have I got a mankini? No, but I think my husband has.
Well, and on that note, we'll say goodbye. Bye.
Bye, Ross. Bye.